All right, boys and girls. So I've done it. I've cracked the code. I've figured out the most optimal physique for Counter-Strike. This has been a hot topic for many years. I feel like the community has gone back and forth on if you should be skinny, if you should be fat, if you should be chubby. There's been memes going around, players like myself, Hiko, Nico, Cold Zero. When we lost weight, we all got worse. When we gained weight back, we got better. I would say the first person on that list is probably the most skilled out of them all, but it's not really a contest about that. So I think before I used to agree. I used to agree that like being chubby or fat definitely a benefit. You have more energy. You drink some Coke, you eat some pizza, you're fully juiced to the gills, right? Like you're ready to frag. You can play 10 pugs in a row. You have energy, right? That's what I used to think. But now I'm thinking that the tides are turning. So what I've done here is the scientific method, right? So I selected LAN last 6 months top 20. And I've opened a bunch of players, the 10 or 11 players, I can't remember. So we're going to go through the players and we'll look at the top physiques right now. So we're just going to look at what do they look like. Donk, skinny. No fat on this arm, just a rail. Just nothing there. There's no fat, no muscle. ZywOo, a little misleading because some of you might think, okay, he's fat. He's a little chubby, right? All right. But what do you notice about ZywOo? Most of his weight is in his belly. He doesn't have much on his arms. So they're still quicker than if he was holding all his fat up here. So I think he's kind of got the best of both worlds right now. He's got like one of the more ideal physiques where he can still enjoy his life and have a lot of food that might not be the best for you, but still perform at a high level in Counter-Strike. m0NESY, as you can see, rail, no muscle, no fat. Shiro, no muscle, no fat. Little bit of fat here, but still pretty skinny arms, which is a key factor here. You'll notice Brokey, pretty skinny, not quite m0NESY, donk level, but skinny arms. Torzy, pretty skinny overall, a little bit more than the other guys. Nico, pretty good shape here. Used to be chubby, now he's skinny. He's got a little bit of muscle, maybe too much muscle. We'll see how it plays out for the rest of the year. But again, skinny physique, gym fat. He's got fat in the name, but overall, his arms are fairly skinny. It's not like he's carrying a lot of weight in those arms. A little bit more than the other guys, but like I said, there's going to be outliers, right? So Frozen, skinny. Sphinx, skinny. Zonix, pretty skinny, a little bit more muscle there, but again, he's a role player, so he's got to, do some of the jobs people don't want to do, right? So what does this mean? Why am I bringing up that they're all skinny and they'll have small arms? Not because I'm hating. I'm not hating. All I'm saying is that when you're playing Counter-Strike, you want to be as quick as possible. So if you're like me and you have all this muscle here and you're jacked and just ripped and shredded and just fucking alpha, I'm just kidding. When you have all this extra weight, like when I flick, I'm just slow, right? Like by the time like my brain so the signals to my hand and I activate the muscles and I've gone to the gym and stuff, I'm fatigued. I got all this glycogen and water in here. There's no way that I'm out-reacting Donk. I'm dead already. Before I even think about flicking my arm, Donk's already killed me. You know why? Because Donk's not sending any signals to his muscles. He's moving purely from the joint. Just pure speed. There's no hair on here. There's no friction. It's pure aerodynamics. It's the most optimal build for FPS. And I was thinking about it. I was like, why were skinny players not better before? Because like logically, they should have always been better than fat players. I should have never been as good as I was as a fat player if skinny players were around. So I was thinking about it, and I was thinking like, Cephas, come on, you're smarter than this. Like, figure it out. You can do this. You're one of the smartest humans on the planet. And so I was thinking, and then it hit me. It's so obvious. The mice used to be heavier. So when you went back in the day, people use like the SteelSeries Rival, the Sensei, the Death Adder, stuff like that. EC2 came out a little bit later. EC1. These mice all weighed between 90 and like 140 grams. So people like Donk just got phased out of the game because they weren't actually strong enough to actually wield the mouse, right? So people like me and Hiko, we had no problem. We have all this food in us. We got all this like extra muscle we don't need. But we can actually move the mouse at a reasonable speed. So we'd actually outperform them. Now, in the last, I would say 2 to 4 years-ish, everyone has kind of switched to like wireless, no cord drag, super light mice. So you have things like the Death Adder, V3, it's like 60-ish grams, EC2, 60-ish grams. You got the G Pro, 60-ish grams. You got mice down in the 50s. all the way to 30. 30 was way too light for me. I would it would accidentally come off the mouse pad. But my point is, no matter how weak you are, you can get a mouse that will be light for you, which was not possible before. So I think these players now are reaching their max potential. And you know, if you think about it, right, like if I was an org owner, I would now be starving my players. I'd be putting them on diets. I'd be trying to get rid of all that muscle, all that fat, and creating machines like Donk. Because Donk doesn't care about food. Donk doesn't care about food in a best of 5. He's not complaining that he's hungry, he needs a break for food. All he's thinking about is, man, I can't wait to win this tournament and then go home and play 10 more pugs. And that's what you want. That's what you want. So I'm not really sure what to do with this information. I just figured that I've kind of cracked the code, I think. I would say that this is one of the harder problems that humanity's had to solve, but I've done it. So yeah, tell me what you guys think, if I'm right on the speed of the aerodynamics helping skinnier players with less muscle. And again, this is not a hate thing. I think this is awesome. I think it's awesome that now we know the most optimal build and we can kind of create teams and recruit players that fit it. You know, like now I feel like for Nouns, George's value is skyrocketed for me. Like I've been messaging Sasquatch and I've been like, yo, do not sell this guy. He is worth at least 3 times the price we originally thought just because of how lean he is, right? So, you know, yeah. Anyways, tell me what you think. And yeah, basically I'm a genius.